and welcome to Retro 500, where I take a look at a retro game in 500 words. Give or take 10%. Let's go. For some reason, YouTube recommended to me a video by GrandPooBear about beating Kid Chameleon.
No!
It's an excellent video and I highly recommend you go and watch it because, like me, you might be asking yourself, what even kind of game is Kid Chameleon? Released for the Sega Mega Drive in 1992, the game revolves around Wildside, a virtual reality arcade game whose main boss has thrown a wobbler and started capturing kids who couldn't beat him. However, there's one fella who is rad enough to take on the challenge, the Kid Chameleon. I'm assuming that's not his real name. He doesn't look quite as cool once you get into the game, looking more like someone who traffics lizards. Starting out, the game seems like a standard platformer, with breakable blocks, some of which hold things like gems, extra time, and lives. They also drop one of 9 helmets which allow your character to take on another form, such as a samurai, an axe-wielding maniac, a goddamn tank, and a fly. Don't get too attached to any of them, as it's not unusual for a less favourable helmet to be required in order to beat a stage. The first few levels are beaten by reaching a flag, but it won't be long before you encounter a teleporter. Step on one and you'll be transported, somewhere, or elsewhere. Sometimes within the same level, other times a few levels ahead, or it might even take you to a secret area with some rare power-ups. This is where Kid Chameleon starts to get slightly cryptic. Without a guide or trial and error, there's no way of knowing whether a teleporter will take you closer to or further away from the end of the game. They never warp you backwards, but they might take you somewhere that you could have skipped by beating the level normally. As the game takes place in virtual reality, I appreciate there's no need for the environments to cohesively link together, but the reuse of stage graphics and music disorientates you even further. You might think you've seen the last of an area, only to revisit it a few levels later, albeit with some new enemies, one of the few clues that you make in progress. With over 100 levels, no overworld map, password or save system, beating Kid Chameleon legit is a borderline impossible feat for the average human. The music sounds like an average Western Mega Drive game, thanks to the Gems sound driver. But the compositions aren't bad, and outside of a couple of tracks, the tunes never violate your ears like, say, Sonic Spinball. This does seem to be an early version of the engine, as the instruments often sound like they're struggling to keep in time with each other when samples are playing. Nowadays, I like to think of Kid Chameleon as an almost roguelike game. And since changing my perspective, I've actually found myself enjoying it much more. How far can I make it before I have to stop to do adult things like put the bin out, cook dinner, or go to bed at a sensible time? Is there a greater thrill than that? Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of Retro 500. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider doing us a like, maybe even a subscribe, and you can touch my bell should you wish. Sorry it's been a while, I've been busy getting married. But that's all done now, out the way, so hopefully normal service will resume. Till next time, take care and goodbye.